All right, let's kick it off. What's up, guys? Jon Sintes, Cutternation Baseball, Alex Rojas, Nama Strength. We meet together for Let's Win a Ball Game podcast. If you don't understand what we're saying, Let's Win a Ball Game is the strategy part of the game, which actually is the only thing that matters. It's the math problem to all the mechanical practice work that you're doing thrown into the testing strategies of winning the damn game. So you play to win the game, and I will start off and change the score. If you want to support us, we got hoodies. I got a brand new design I just put on. I'm really got into this whole AI drawing stuff. It's pretty cool. I got a bunch of new stuff coming out. I'm actually going to revamp a lot of our old phrases because the phrases don't go away. But you want to update the art into it. So be on the lookout for that from our online store. If you're in San Diego and you need some training, throwing, hitting, catching, strength training, we're your stop. We're one-stop shop. We got everything that you need. Hit tracks, TrackMan, video analysis, arm care. We're here to help pitchers and baseball players and hitters become better and have a better, smarter training plan for their life, not the season. So, thank you. And Alex, you can go ahead.
I ain't got a lot to say right now except for this, right? Because I got some other stuff I want to talk about, but I am the TBC hitting director. Shout out to everybody that is working out in the Bay Area right now. We just had tryouts start this week. So baseball is officially underway, and we're excited. Little lack of attendance in the facility the last 2 days just because guys are getting back in the swing of it. But I want to talk about these. So shout out to Lefty Swag Bats. I became an affiliate with these guys maybe like 2 weeks ago. And we implemented these with a variety of different age groups. I really like them. Now there's a couple of different drawbacks that you have to understand when you use a stick bat. But wow, where do you go? I'm not sure. But one of the things that I really like about these and that all of these bats have is that these skinny barrels really work well with plyo balls. They really allow a lot of instant feedback to come to the sweet spot. So that's what we want to do as soon as possible. And going with what John said, had a come to Jesus moment walking my dog. The idea of player development is to basically get to the strategy part of the game as fast as possible. Because the physical side of things, that's going to come like, at a certain point, you have to have these windows of development, but once you're done building the bat speed or the ability to hit the ball over somebody's head, you have to be able to do that in a real game, and then knowing how to do that. So one of the things that I learned with these things is that it's very similar to hitting a plyo ball when you hit a real baseball, because the amount of topspin that I see guys have, or the amount of side flare that I see guys have, is pretty instantaneous feedback, I should say. So if you guys want to get a piece of these, and I'm still making some content, I'm doing some stuff for these guys, you can use my discount code. It's on my profile. But one of the things that I learned yesterday while I was using these with some younger guys, well, not yesterday, but Monday, is that a lot of you guys, and I'm talking to high school players, you guys should probably swing 34 sooner rather than later. And I think a big part of that is what John talks about, which is the strategy part of the game. Like, you're trying to minimize how much you're trying to do and just maximize what you're thinking about, right? Like, you know what you're doing in the situation. The easier you have power off your bat, you don't have to think about having power. So the bigger bat you have, mass times force equals acceleration. I think a lot of guys need to start swinging bigger bats. I think we need to get out of the light bat era with these guys and start getting into the heavy bat era. Like go back to 1960 something when teams swung like drop 3 wood bats in Little League, or like some even wood bats or whatever it was. But what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, in Mexico they do wood only leagues, where they swing like a drop 5 wood bat, and so like that makes all the sense in the world, and it's like a little big barrel situation. So Lefty Swag, love them too. We got a discount code coming as well with that. So, big fan of those guys. We met them at the ABCA. We're putting together some fun stuff for them as well. I will say that, as the strategy of the game goes, if you only get 3 or 4 at bats, change the score has to be the idea of what you're trying to get into. And so shout out to Johnny Gomes for the beautiful clip that he gave us, where I just asked him how to change the score. And he went off at the ABCA, so it was pretty fun. Full vlog coming soon on all that stuff as well. But in the meantime, I will say that, the development of what I see with a lot of your guys and what happens is interesting. And something like that, swinging a smaller bat to help hand-eye coordination and a smaller ball, can you speak on what happens as you transition from the stick to hitting baseballs with your bat?
For me personally, I haven't done that much swinging with it in front toss, but a lot of the guys that have done it, my best was the first day that I brought the underload bat, and I'm gonna get him on video swinging it probably tomorrow. But he broke his PR with the underload bat than he did with the axe bat. So he actually hit the ball harder with the underload lefty swag bat than he did with the axe bat, which you're designed to actually hit that axe bat pretty damn hard. And one of the things that he said was, it actually felt like I had to, let me rephrase that, I cared less about making contact because I knew I was going to. Because he had used this stick bat, he just was so comfortable with swinging, he almost just trusted everything about his swing. He just let it go. Hi, buddy.
Yeah. Sorry, just having a quick Birdo conversation. And we'll do that after this. Sorry about that, buddy. Yeah, I heard you a little bit there. I'm interested to see when we get those sticks in our hands, what's going to happen with our guys on it too, because it just makes too much sense. Why are you trying to train the easy way? It makes no sense to do. We've got another company that we've got these Bluetooth sensors that I kind of like putting some of our older guys into this stuff before they hit and after they hit to just help test the brain, and because it's a game form of what happens. So that combined with actually swinging and hitting something that's harder to do, how does your player development not accelerate? And I think just like what Bauer put out recently, if you saw that video, of course there's some elite high school coaches and there's some elite college coaches, but if that were the case, then how come the Caribbean has over 50% of the players? That's the thing you got to look at. It's really hard to compete with these guys when that's their job from 12. Their job is literally to learn how to hit the ball as far as possible.
And the way that they do it, it's so hard. Like Vatia is such a hard concept, just in that and of itself. Hit this thing, right? Okay, now hit the shit out of it. First thing is you got to hit this tiny little object that's about the size of your thumbnail, and it's moving at probably 30 miles an hour, 40 miles an hour. I don't know how fast they can flick those things, but probably, right? You got to hit with a fucking stick. That's just a crazy concept. But one thing that I wanted to comment on that was the stimulus of a baseball reaction. It's so fast. The idea of live at bats and getting that half a second reaction time that you have from ball out of hand to the hitting zone, you only have that much time. It's so hard. There's nothing in a weight room that you can really do. Those little reaction balls, those knobby reaction balls, that might be the closest thing that you can warm up the brain to do that I've been doing with my guys, more of my little guys. What did he say? It really makes them adjust barrel control into contact. That's true. That is, so here's one of the trippy things about the axe bats weigh the same as this. Not this one. This is the no load, right? Some of my guys, they can hit 90, 95 plus with the axe bat. When they grab that lefty swag bat, they go, oh my God, this is so heavy. And it's kind of a humbling concept because you still need that factor of resistance. Like that's another thing that if you guys check out my story, I posted because I've been doing some strength conditioning as well with our guys on, not really strength conditioning, just sled running. And one of the things that you get in sled running is horizontal force production, right? And one of the things that the weight room teaches us is vertical force production. But we're in the business of hitting projectiles or throwing projectiles forward, not upward, right? We focus on going forward. So the weight room helps us with like achieving max velocity, because in order for you to hit top velocity when you're running, you got to be upright. But in order for you to get to top velocity, you got to be horizontal. So guys that are a little bit too tall in their stance, these things kick their ass. So we're getting guys a little bit more athletic in their stance, a little bit more. Shout out to Trotsky, dude. I was watching some of his infield videos, just having guys that are athletes in the box. Like that's what we need more of, right? But it's from the start, like your setup and your stance and how you move to the ball and how you hold your weight back. That's how you're going to produce your athleticism. These do a lot better job of maintaining the hand-eye quality. The axe bats, you kind of lose that because guys get a little lazy because they know that my barrel's going to run into it. But now you don't get that concept of being lazy and how to change the score. Going with that, like I think that needs to be more about like the technique aspects. Like that's a part of the game. Like we need to stop like mechanics should be very much like sprint work. Like we should all have a coaches conference, like every coach in the United States, almost like a convention, right? Where everybody shows up and we talk about like there has to just be a core of drills, right? Because I think everyone can kind of agree on strength conditioning. That's why we have like a USDA, right? The USSCA, the United States Strength Conditioning Association, right? That we've agreed upon how these things work. I really think we're missing the beat. Like whoever San Diego cap hitting is, hell yeah. I think we're missing the beat on what we're teaching guys. And that's one of the things that I think that the Caribbean countries have kind of come together on, because a lot of their guys look so similar. Like they're just clones of the swings and the throws. They're just match the shape to the body type, right? It's like you still got to do this, but you got to do it for your height. And I think it's because they've got a better agreement on things. So I know I'm on board with what you teach for the throw. I don't know shit about throwing. So I just like, when I watch somebody throw in a game, that's what matters. Like, I don't really care about throwing drills. I just care about what you do on the mound. But hitting, there is a little bit of like a drill idea to it, because it's like you'll never hit a home run in a game if you've never tried doing it in BP. You have to try to do it. You have to. It's just a technique. It's just like throwing a breaking ball in the dirt. And that goes with the idea of changing the score. We got to teach kids how to change the score when they're 9. Like, at the same time as you're teaching them technique.
And not this bullshit first and third, like bunt plays, like just all hidden behind the word fundamentals, by the way. The fundamentals of baseball. Like, no,
I think like
over it. Like if you bunt 2 times, you should be kicked out of the stadium if you bunt twice in a row in a travel game.
Like
you should be. He gone.
There has to be something besides West Coast baseball to try to convince people to change the game. Like West Coast baseball works to teach somebody, like, honestly, how to swing, because it kind of makes sense. Hit the ball the other way, hit the ball up the middle, and then hit the ball in the air. It makes sense, right? It's easy to add up, right? But then you have the idea of like, okay, that guy throws 100. Or that guy throws 95 with a split piece that vanishes. Like, good luck trying to hit the inside half of that, right? You got to have a different strategy. Yeah.
What do you do now? What do you do
like,
now?
that's
The
a part
guy's
of it.
throwing
It's
100.
like your quality of competition matches your ability to have strategy. I've been watching those youth prospect guys. Those kids are smart. Like, those kids go in there and they talk about like a lot of different stuff. But I watched, I don't know what it was like 5-star or whatever. I watched them put up 5 runs without hitting a ball in the air. They just hit like 6 or 7 balls that were maybe like head height, maybe one hopper through the infield, but they loaded the bases and they changed the score really fast. One of the things that I saw was they kept the bases loaded for as long as they could. And I think that's the way to change the score. It's like, how do we keep the bases loaded? It's not by swinging and hitting jacks. It's by just smoking the ball over people's heads or through the infield. And they put up 5 runs like that on a D1 dude. I forgot what school it was, but it was like, they're all in Florida and Alabama and Georgia, so it's always like a South Carolina commit versus like a Texas commit and all this. But you're seeing high-level guys not trying to hit bombs to change the score, but they're still changing the score. So to go with what you said, I know I'm talking a lot today, but it goes with that. You have to understand how to change the score. How can you keep changing the score? How do you change the score as a you and a royal you, your team? Because there's you, right? Like, do you hit bombs? No, I don't. I'm a line drive guy. Okay, why are you swinging for the fence, bro? Hit a fucking 90-mile-an-hour bump and like shot in the cap and clear the backs. Let's do that. Like,
Shot.
Or if you know you're a contact guy, just keep the train rolling. Get a base hit. Let the next guy do damage. But like the point, like it's like slow pitch softball. Like, you watch those A-level teams or B-level, they get like 3 home runs in a game. And they wait till the base is loaded, then they go Jimmy Jack. Because a solo home run, you only get 3 home runs in a game, right? You just hit a home run, and you only got 1 run out of it. Sick. Like, do damage, bro. Like, when it's the time to do damage.
You just took me into Colombia versus Dominican Republic in the Caribbean series right now. And okay, what's your prediction? Colombia versus Dominican Republic. Who
Bro,
wins?
I can't name one.
And what's the score?
I'm going to say
and what's the score?
Dominican Republic 7, Colombia 4.
Okay. Colombia beats Dominican Republic 11-0. Wow. And not only wow, like all the tricks. And so I'll send you the video, but there are condensed games that are like 5-6 minutes long on YouTube. And they also have an every pitch version of it too. And last night I was watching some of it and I was just like blown away because the Dominicans started off with they have a veteran soft lefty that's like just curveball cutter split dominant and very good for what he's doing. And just phenomenal, just unreal guy. Well, sometimes you run into teams that don't give a shit and they just enjoy you flipping it up there. And that's what happened. They weren't trying to they took fastballs to get to the spinners. And so this dude gave up like 6 runs in 1 1/3. And it wasn't like little ones. Like, if you know curveball's coming, you get a lot of time to take a fucking hack on that thing. And that's what they were doing. They were hunting. Yeah. And then they tried to do the other thing and then go back to the hard-throwing righty, right? And it was, it was interesting for sure. Because it was like, then you had like backdoor 97, 3-2 count, runners on second and third, and the guy's leaning out over the plate and then just shoots it in the 4-hole to score 2. It's like, oh, yeah. Not only are they taking advantage of the pitcher being put in front of them, but they're not making mistakes on that pitch. Because, by the way, if you try to go up to the middle or roll over, if you try to pull it and go up the middle on a backdoor sinker, you will just top spin it.
See, that's
just how it is. Sorry to be one of
there's no way to recreate a stimulus like a baseball pitch. Like, there's no machine in the world. There's no drill. There's like, it's literally, yeah, like it's like you have to have somebody that can spin it in a variety of ways at a higher velocity that exposes you to the idea of like, yeah, you should hit the outside pitch the other way. But what happens when it moves towards your face 19 inches, right? Like, what now? Like, it's gonna have. So shout out to a couple of our new guys we got at TBC, Sage and Matt. They're two of our new pitching guys. One of them got to work with a pro the other day, and he added a few inches to his slider, and I believe it went from like somewhere in the double digits, but it wasn't over 13 to 19, right? And this guy's a big leaguer. And you think about somebody's capability to move a ball 19 inches, right? That's like, hold on. This is a 34-inch bat, right? So that's a lot, right? And you're seeing that 10 to 19. Yeah, Matt remembers 10 to 19, right? But even 10 inches, right? Like, you have a plan until you see that. So it's like, yes, your BP routine is awesome that you've been doing with your travel ball team. But the other part of it is like, your guys are exposed to things that they're not training, right? Like, even if you're not training the best slider in the world, they need to have days where they're just seeing sliders all day in BP, and you're just like, figure it out. That's it. That's all I can tell you, because that's one of the things that I've noticed is, like, there is an element to sinking or swimming where, like, yeah, Tommy caught him. So there's our catcher. He caught him. He was like, yeah, it's gross, right? So it's like, so shout out to Tommy. He's a 15-year-old kid, got to catch a big leader. That's pretty awesome, right? And he did well, which, again, to a high school kid, this is just showing you how good an MLB pitcher is. He didn't have to block one ball in the whole bullpen, right? Like, can you do that, right? Again, that's another quality of a pitcher. It's like, can you do that? Like, can you, like, and spot up and not make mistakes? Like, you're spotting up and not put the ball in the dirt. These aren't drill things. These are just like, you're a dude. You're just a dude. Yeah, I do these things. I'm on a roll today. Don't drink Celsius. They have a lot of caffeine.
Yeah, I was going to say that.
Yeah, I mean, I'm wired. I feel like the first sip, like, it just starts, like, going down or uphill, whichever hill we're on.
Yeah, that's dope. I would say I'm pro caffeine. I saw that Neil deGrasse Tyson. I mean, granted, he's not a medical professional, but, like, I just like his logic and stuff. And he was talking about all these people that go from caffeine to, like, no caffeine, and I'm like, the benefits in the long run, like, are still better just to drink caffeine your whole life. I'm like, thank you, somebody. Or, like, the withdrawals, and, like, it just makes you, like, your brain works better. You just don't go crazy. Don't have 14 coffees in a day, guys. Just have one. Have two. You know, I was guilty of it. But, like, I think the caffeine side of it is so
just don't overdo it. You know what I mean?
Everybody's different on the size of overdoing, right?
It's like the big gulp of coffee mugs right there. That is tremendous.
Yeah, for sure.
But tell me something.
Yeah, zero shame on the coffee game. But see, look, I drink this.
Right,
I drink this like within like 3 hours. I'm not drinking it. I'm not just Red Bull.
So I got to ask you this, going with my rant here, but you know what pro hitters are capable of in the moment, right? We're not talking about drills. We're not talking about training, right? You've thrown some of your best shit, and guys put a barrel on it, and you were like, what the hell was that? Yeah, I know you've done it, right? So it's like, what were some of the things that you've seen guys do on some of your, like, wipeout pitches?
So for the guys that know me, I have multiple versions of cutters, and one of my favorite one is I call Darth Vader, which is dark. It's dark and evil, and it's just this, like, grab lidge slider that the optics to the hitter is it goes like the pattern is like a 7 o'clock on the action, on the movement, but due to the right-handed hitter's eyes, it looks like it just disappears because it's more down. And that's just, like, changing the spiral axis of what I'm doing, and, like, guaranteed swing and miss, guaranteed for a very long portion of my life. And I remember playing this Venezuelan, and I spotted it right on the black like I wanted to, and he ran out of the box, and it looked like he swung a 3-iron and hit a freaking 3-foot line drive at 100 miles an hour past our first baseman. And I was like, that's the craziest thing I've ever seen. He just ran out of the box and just, like, tennis slapped it at the first base. This poor human almost died because he squared it up, you know? So that was
Almost
pretty
like
interesting.
A vertical swing.
Seeing guys open up. Yeah, exactly. Like literally just like yeah, and just like holding the barrel up in the air while he's running. Like, oh shit, that was crazy. The first time I saw somebody like cheat step in the bucket was interesting too. We're like, and none of these people were American, and it got to the point where I could see like guys that held their feet position were like American, and the guys that were like willing to be athletic and mobile in the box were for sure Latin and much.
Yeah, dude, what you just said, I tell so many kids, like, land with your foot open more than you land with it closed. Like, you can do more stuff. Like, it's, and going back to what you just said, like, having dynamic foot placement is like such a thing that nobody really gives credit to. But what you just said.
Right. Well, they think it's impossible to heel spin, right? Like, oh, he can't do that. And I'm like, well, I watch Barry Bonds do it all the time. You can pull up a YouTube video of Barry Bonds hitting 700 home runs in a row, and you can watch all these up and in pitches. He heel spins, and his front hip clears. He doesn't scissor, and he hits it into the Maccabi Cove. Same guy goes right center, blocks off his front side, under rotates, and is still able to smack the ball out to left center. So I hate this either or thing. Like, it's just such a ridiculous. I mean, like, you can't swing at a pitch up and in. You cannot swing at it the same way you can swing at a pitch down and away. Just no. And like an up and in hang job slider that deserves to be hit to the moon, you can't swing at that the same way as a fastball 100%. Up and in missed. They're in the same location, but you cannot approach it that way. You will miss the ball.
Has to enter the zone and meet that pitch, the optimal angle. They're just different. They're just way different.
Right, totally. Yeah. So I mean, that's why when I'm watching swings and I'm watching guys and all Berto and the pros that were here, like, I'm trying to figure out what pitches are working and are not working, and trying to give them direct feedback so they can either work on those things or be aware.
Being humble doesn't work as well as being aware.
There's also a lot of truth serum in that. I'm a 36-year-old out of shape pitcher.
But I mean,
if I can strike you out, then we should probably.
You're in baseball shape. You're like
true, but I know, but I'm not throwing that 95
anymore. You're the Matt Stairs baseball player. You don't really need to get ready until the 6th. And then you're good. Like, Matt doesn't even show up to the game until the 3rd inning, right? Like, he just got here. Like,
Facts.
And then he's probably going to smoke a couple heaters, have a beer, sit in the hot tub, loosen up. It's the 6th inning, then he gets geared up. Probably takes 2 hacks in the cage, walks into Citizens Bank Park, ties it up with one swing of the bat. God, who's better than Matt Stairs?
Well, and once again, we're throwing that guy fastballs. Like, what are we doing?
Bro, so here was another thing that I was wanting to really pick your brain about that had to do with hitting and pitching, which was the idea of, like, where are you really trying to showcase your dominance as a pitcher? Are you trying to showcase your dominance in your ability to get through a complete game? Or is your ability more showcased in, I don't care how many innings I go, but I'm just going to get as many strikeouts as I can and minimize my walks? Like, because one of the things that I'm trying to get a grip of realization on is, like, what are youth pitchers trying to do to better tell my guys? Because, like, what's cooler, a complete game, or in high school, 5 innings with like 8 Ks, 9 Ks? You know what I mean?
Well, it really depends on. I think you have to have a conversation with yourself on, like, what you're trying to do. I mean, if you're trying to develop yourself as a starting pitcher, then in high school you're trying to throw. I think it's a privilege to get to the 9th inning. It doesn't happen all the time. You don't have the things put together, you know? So yes, you should be trying to strike people out as fast as possible is what the answer is. You're not, just because you go 3-2 doesn't mean you're trying to strike the guy out. You know what I mean? Right. So like if I can strike you out on 3 pitches, I would love a nice 9-pitch inning, right? Because if I go 9 pitches and 9 innings in a row, that's only 81 pitches.
Right.
So we got 19 to play with, right? So it's just not realistic that you're going to be like 19 to 81 strikes. You know what I mean? So you have to have capacity to throw a lot first, and then you have to develop sequences and adapt your strategy to the situation, right? Getting a strikeout with a runner on first and no outs is not productive. Getting a double play ball and then getting the strikeout would be the better formula of what you're trying to do. So yes, that would require throwing more breaking balls with a runner on first base to get the ground ball. Duh. Doesn't mean you throw fastballs in this situation, but I don't think everybody knows that. I don't think people know how to engineer in a 9-inning game, especially when you're like facing the same guys each at bat. That's where, the disservice to these travel ball kids of an hour and 30-minute game is you're only facing a guy twice. Like, you can just spin him to death. You face the same guy 4 times. Like, that 4th time is going to be pretty freaking hard.
To unpack what you said, would you give more credit to the guy that can throw more innings as a starting pitcher throughout a year at a younger age?
I would. Well, it wouldn't be like total innings. It would be like average innings per out. Because these kids are only throwing like 4 innings, so it doesn't even count. Like even in that prospect youth prospects video that we were watching, the perfect game, they're playing 7-inning games, and they hit time limit in inning 5, and it's like that doesn't count. Like, you've got baseball's a non-time specific game. Now, I understand you're trying to do it for the sake of scouting, but like that's not as soon as you go to high school or college season, it's like it doesn't work.
That's why I think it's important to like be able to understand rule sets. That's one thing we talk about in jiu-jitsu. Like, there's so many different tournaments, just like travel ball, that they all kind of have their own little rule set that you have to distinctly account for. Like, certain things are allowed, certain time limits, certain things are points, right? That's one of the things that you almost have to take into account as a baseball player as you're developing, because travel ball outweighs high school baseball right now. Like, honestly, travel baseball is more important than high school baseball in a lot of places, because high school baseball doesn't have the ability to develop guys and expose them that these travel ball organizations can. Because baseball is their business, where, not saying it's a bad thing, but your 9 to 5 is a teacher, and then you come and coach the team. Your job is to be a teacher, not spend all day thinking about how can you better develop these guys and then spend all day doing it, right? That's why college baseball coaches, it's a paid position to be a coach, right? And I think, again, going back to what you said, I don't think I ever heard a coach talk about that until I got to the highest level. But that should be stuff that we talk about with like our 13-year-old kids, because there is a element to letting your own pitcher kind of work his way through stuff. But if he doesn't know how to economically work through things, he's not going to be able to get the 3-2 out like you talked about, because he's still trying to K the kid up instead of like, bro, you need a ground ball here, and we go hit, and you got 3, 4, 5 up, right? It's like those kind of things that they're not. Because what I heard when you were talking was, I don't want to, and I'm speaking as you, I don't want to necessarily strike a guy out if I'm 3-2, but if I go 0-2, I have no problem getting that guy out. That's somebody that understands the difference between those two processes, right? Like, you strike a guy out on 3-2, sick. I was just trying to get you out. Just trying to, like, not walk you, right? But it's like, 0-2, I should K you out here. Like, that's my job right now. And understanding the difference and, like, what pitch do you use here, right? And then the same.
And also, guys, you got to give credit to the hitter sometimes. Sometimes you throw that perfect strike ball, and it's 3 inches off the corner, and he takes it, Birdo, which we do all the time. I seem to have just my goodness, that's so close. And he just looks at it.
Great
like, sweet, nice pitch. You know? And that's yeah. He's telling me that was a really good pitch.
That had awesome move.
Yeah, that was great. You just missed it. Yep, I agree. That was terrible. Yeah. So yeah, for sure. Well, hey, I got a big man in the building, so I got to get rolling. But this has been great. Good catching up with you. You know, always great talking strategy. You know, Lefty Swag, you guys are. I can't wait to get our set whenever should get a little tracking on that too.
You guys have a blast.
We'll get that going.
On these things. I'd be super curious.
Oh, put the blast on the Lefty Swag bat. That's interesting.
Versus your bat, like that'd be very, very interesting.
Yeah, definitely, for sure. Yeah, I want to see what's going to happen for sure. For sure, it's going to be interesting. So, all right, man. Well, you're the best. Thank you. It's been awesome. We'll get this up everywhere. Please like and subscribe if you haven't so far. You know, follow Alex if you're up in his area. Go hang out with the guy for a little bit. Go ask some questions. He's very intelligent. He loves to talk about the game, and great job to you. Don't forget, Cruising Series is on today. Mexico's in the semis. They're the favorite right now, which is interesting, but we'll see how it goes. Tomorrow starts the playoffs, so last day of round robin today. So enjoy the games. It can be watched on ESPN Deportes or the ESPN app. And if you would like to watch and search, you have to search in Spanish. This is the trick. Series del Caribe. That's what you have to search. You can't write American, English, Caribbean Series. It doesn't come up. So the benefits of
that was a great plug. This podcast is brought to you by Disney Plus. If you would like to subscribe to Disney Plus, please use our discount code. That was great.
I saw Segura. I thought of you. I saw Tom Segura promoted a new iPad app game where he read the script, and it was like, come get your heroes and legends for this beautiful game. Create characters up to 1 million different variants. And I was just laughing.
Yeah,
it was like Tom Segura.
So that's why he did that.
Good job. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. Sure, I'll read that script for that.
Well, hey,
definitely.
Appreciate you. Later, guys.
All right, buddy. Talk to you soon.